Have you ever looked at your bank card 3 days after payday and wondered, wait, where did all my money go? One minute, you feel financially unstoppable. The next, you're checking your balance like it's a medical test result. Here's the strange part. People who always seem to have money aren't necessarily richer. They often follow one simple habit that quietly protects their account every single week. A habit backed by psychology, used by millionaires, students, freelancers, and even people with average incomes. And once you see it in action, you'll never look at your bank card the same way again. The golden habit is surprisingly simple. Every time money enters your life, move a percentage of it away before your brain has a chance to spend it. Not after you've paid for food, not after you've bought that limited time deal that somehow appears every week, before anything else. Most people think money disappears because they don't earn enough. Sometimes that's true, but often money disappears because it arrives without a plan. Behavioral economist Richard Thaler, famous for his work on mental accounting, showed that people treat money differently depending on where it sits. The same $100 feels harder to spend when it's separated from everyday spending money. Think about two friends, Alex and Ryan. Both earn exactly the same amount. The moment Alex gets paid, he leaves everything in one account. His bank card becomes the headquarters for every decision. Coffee here, food delivery there, a gaming subscription he forgot about, a random online purchase at midnight because he was just browsing. Ryan does something different. The second money arrives, 15% automatically moves to a separate account. No debate, no motivation, no willpower. 3 months later, Alex feels confused. He worked hard but somehow has nothing to show for it. Ryan isn't richer. He isn't smarter. He didn't win the lottery. Yet he suddenly has a growing financial cushion. Who's right? Most people would say Ryan. But here's the interesting part. Ryan doesn't actually make better spending decisions every day. He simply makes one good decision first. And that's where the magic happens. Psychologists call this reducing decision fatigue. The more choices you make throughout the day, the worse your future choices become. That's why people who swear they'll save money in the morning somehow end up ordering expensive food at 11 p.m. Their brain gets tired. Automation solves that problem. In his best-selling book Atomic Habits, James Clear explains that successful habits aren't usually about discipline. They're about designing systems that make the right action happen automatically. Money works exactly the same way. Imagine trying to stop water from flowing after it's already escaped a pipe. Difficult. Now imagine placing the valve before the leak starts. Much easier. That's why many financially successful people don't rely on motivation. They rely on automatic transfers. And before you think that's great for rich people, consider this. Someone saving 10% of a small income is building a stronger financial habit than someone earning 10 times more but saving nothing. The amount matters less than the behavior, because the real goal isn't becoming rich overnight. The real goal is teaching your money where to go before the world decides for you. But separating money is only the first layer of this habit. The second layer is where things become surprisingly powerful, and where most people unknowingly sabotage themselves every single week. The second layer of the habit is creating what financial experts often call a money buffer. This is where a lot of people accidentally play the game backwards. Imagine your bank card balance is sitting at $800. Most people mentally see $800 available to spend, but financially smart people see something completely different. They might see only $500 available. The remaining $300 is invisible, not because it's gone, because it already has a job. Maybe it's next month's phone bill. Maybe it's car insurance. Maybe it's an emergency fund slowly growing in the background. The money is still there, but it isn't emotionally available. And that small mindset shift changes everything. Nobel Prize-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman spent years studying how humans make decisions. One of the biggest discoveries was that people are not naturally rational with money. We react to what we see right now. If your card says $800, your brain starts imagining possibilities. A weekend trip, a new phone, 3 food deliveries in 1 week because I've had a stressful few days. Funny how every spending decision suddenly becomes self-care when money is sitting in the account. That's why the buffer works. It protects you from your future self. Because let's be honest, the person making financial plans on Sunday night is usually much wiser than the person scrolling shopping apps at midnight on Thursday. Now consider another comparison. Emma and Jake both keep $1,000 in their accounts. Emma spends until she reaches almost zero before payday. Jake never allows his balance to drop below $300. At first glance, they seem similar. But life doesn't happen on a schedule. A tire goes flat. A friend invites you to a once-in-a-year event. A laptop laptop charger dies. A train ticket suddenly doubles in price. Unexpected expenses don't send calendar invitations. And this is where the buffer becomes a superpower. Jake doesn't panic. Emma opens her banking app like she's entering a horror movie. Same income, different system, different stress level. In fact, many financial planners argue that reducing financial stress is just as important as increasing income. A growing body of research links financial uncertainty to anxiety, poor sleep, and lower overall well-being. That's a huge price to pay for living with a permanently empty account. The best part? You don't need a massive buffer. Even a small one changes your behavior. Maybe it's $100, maybe it's $300, maybe it's 1 week's expenses. The exact number matters less than the rule. Your account should never be treated like a fuel tank that reaches empty before refilling. It should be treated like a battery that always keeps a reserve. And here's where things get really interesting. Once you combine automatic saving with a protected buffer, something unexpected starts happening. You stop thinking about money every day. You stop checking your balance with anxiety. You stop wondering whether you'll make it to the next payday. But there's one final piece of the golden habit that turns this from a good system into a life-changing one. And it's probably the simplest part of all. The final piece of the golden habit is surprisingly small. In fact, it takes less than 2 minutes. Once a week, perform a personal money check-in. That's it. No complicated spreadsheet, no 3-hour budgeting session, no pretending you're the chief financial officer of a multinational corporation. Just a quick weekly review. Here's why this matters. Researchers studying behavior change consistently find that what gets measured gets managed. Not perfectly, not instantly, but dramatically better than things we ignore. Think about fitness. People who step on a scale occasionally tend to stay more aware of their health than people who avoid looking for 6 months and hope everything somehow worked out. Money follows the same pattern. A weekly check-in creates awareness before problems become emergencies. Let's say it's Sunday evening. You open your banking app. You check 3 simple things. How much came in? How much went out? And did your balance move in the direction you wanted? That's it. No financial jargon required. No calculator smoking from overwork, just awareness. And awareness is incredibly powerful. Warren Buffett once said that accounting is the language of business. But for normal people, awareness is the language of personal finance. Because here's what usually happens. You notice patterns. Not because someone lectures you, because the numbers quietly tell the story. You discover you're spending more on convenience than expected. You realize 3 streaming subscriptions are competing for attention while you're mostly watching short videos anyway. You notice small purchases that seemed harmless individually, but together look like they formed a secret alliance against your wallet. 1 coffee isn't the problem. 5 subscriptions aren't the problem. 1 impulse purchase isn't the problem. The combination is. And the weekly review shines a flashlight on that reality. Let's revisit Alex and Ryan one last time. Remember Alex? The guy whose money seemed to disappear. He decides to adopt the full habit. First, he automatically moves a percentage of every paycheck. Second, he protects a minimum buffer in his account. Third, he spends 2 minutes every week reviewing his finances. 6 months later, something remarkable happens. His income hasn't doubled. He hasn't become a cryptocurrency genius. He hasn't discovered a secret millionaire club hidden behind a bookshelf. But his card balance looks different. For the first time, money stays. Unexpected expenses stop feeling catastrophic. Payday stops feeling like a rescue mission. And perhaps most importantly, his stress drops. Because having money isn't only about numbers, it's about options. The philosopher Seneca wrote that wealth is not having great possessions, but having few wants. Now, that doesn't mean never buying nice things. It means controlling your money instead of constantly chasing it. That's the hidden benefit of this habit. You stop living in reaction mode. You start living intentionally. And here's the fascinating part. Almost nobody notices the habit from the outside. Your friends won't see it. Your coworkers won't see it. Social media certainly won't celebrate it. But month after month, year after year, this quiet system creates something many people spend their entire lives searching for. The feeling that your bank card is working for you instead of constantly working against you. And that's where a simple habit becomes a powerful financial advantage. So if you remember just one thing from this video, make it this. Don't try to save what's left after spending. Spend what's left after saving. Automate a percentage, protect a buffer, and do a quick weekly money check-in. 3 simple actions. No financial genius required. Over time, they'll quietly transform your bank balance, reduce stress, and give you more freedom. Because the people who always seem to have money usually aren't lucky. They just built a system that makes keeping it almost automatic.